To the final recap I want to do from tonight, Purdue, closer game than you would expect against Xavier. They were 17-point favorites, I think it opened at. I don't know where it
Is that
closed at.
is that
17,
what is that
18?
what? Okay.
16 and a half is what the ESPN app says. I swore it closed at like 18. People kept asking me about the spread, and I kept saying stay away. It felt like a lot of points. It ended up being a lot of points. Maybe we shouldn't have stayed away, but ultimately Purdue gets a 12-point win at home in Mackey. I took the under, and the under missed by 3 points. I'm disgusted by it. Zach Edey, obviously the best player on the floor. Anytime Purdue takes the floor, he had 28 and 11 tonight. Another, I mean, crazy we're saying this, but like a sleepy 28 and 11 to me. Like right now, like we just come to expect that and almost take it for granted from Zach Edey. Braden Smith was flirting with a triple-double. He had 12, 7, and 6. Fletcher Lawyer, 11 points, 1 for 4 from 3. Lance Jones, 8 points, 1 for 3 from 3. Kaufman Wren with a monstrous 1 and 3 in the front court, 0 for 2 from the floor. That's not working so great right now, I would say, the two bigs. But this Xavier team, to me, on paper, not very good, but it's Sean Miller. Sean Miller is always going to make his teams competitive. You could give Sean Miller 5 guys from your men's league, and he'll make a competitive team out of it. That's what he did tonight to me. I still did not come away from this game thinking Xavier, 1, played particularly well, or 2, will be particularly good in the Big East. So I'm a little bit surprised this was such a close game with like 10 minutes left in the game. Did you come away with the same feeling?
Yeah, it was kind of weird because they were just on the verge of like blowing this game open, like 4 or 5 times, and then honestly, it seemed like Zach Edey kind of missed a couple bunnies. Like I feel so bad saying this because like he's 9 of 17 from the floor, 28 and 11. You pointed out that Doug stats maybe lied a little bit. I didn't particularly think that Edey was as dominant as he usually is. I thought he missed ones that he typically makes. Like this could have easily been like a 40-point Zach Edey game, I think, if he finishes the ones he typically finishes. And I think that kind of prevented them from actually blowing this open. It seemed like Zach Edey was kind of missing some more easy shots for him, and then Xavier was able to kind of get out and run and get some easy ones in transition. But all in all, I was impressed with Edey, with his performance. Braden Smith was Braden Smith. If I'm a Purdue fan, I'm still worried about Fletcher Lawyer, but at the same time, I'm not as worried about Fletcher Lawyer because Myles Colvin was great in this game. 3 for 3 from the field, 3 3-pointers in this game. He looked really good doing that. He hit one before the half, going into halftime with a beautiful Braden Smith pass. I just think that a lot of the expectations we had for Purdue and taking a jump and getting over that hump of whatever their tournament bug is on their back depended on Colvin. And I think that Colvin showed that he is actually deserving of some more minutes. And I thought he was great defensively as well. I mean, I'm not saying that he was a lockdown defender, but based on the first couple of games that I saw defensively, I thought he was leaps and bounds in this game. So that was definitely a positive for Purdue. But I do think that they should be a little bit like, I don't know, not concerned about deep, but like giving up 71 to the Xavier team. I don't think they should have gave that many points. I thought they could have been a little bit better defensively in this game.
Yeah, I'm glad you called out Colvin. That's where I was going to start. 3 for 3 from 3. That's all he did in this game. But if that's all he's doing, I'm okay with that right now for Myles Colvin early in his career. If he can just come in and make a couple threes a game and do nothing else but have the athleticism pop here and there and make his shots, I think that matters for this team. Tonight, Purdue shot 7 for 15 from 3. I would like to see the attempt numbers a little higher, to be honest, because I think that's going to matter. Like I would like their shot distribution to be like entirely at the rim and then a bunch of threes. They still got a bunch at the rim, but I think they're going to need to shoot more than 15 threes to win games. And you don't want to find yourself in the spot in March where like, oh, you're 0 for 3 from 3 and everybody's sweating again. Like I want this team to be comfortable shooting a high volume of threes, you know?
Yeah, it was hard though because in this game, like they were for the most part just like single covering Edey.
Yeah.
So like Edey's just sealing and staring at you, and it's just like, yeah, I gotta throw this in.
Yeah, and they did a really good job of that for sure. I feel like we keep having the same conversation with Purdue, and I don't want to just like fall in the trap and do it day after day after day. But like truly right now, what this team comes down to is like, you know what you're getting from Edey and Smith. Lawyer day to day, you'll talk about, but it's always the third thing with Lawyer. Like tonight, he had his quiet 11 and 3 assists. Like good numbers, good third option. You don't got to worry about Fletch, but it's nothing you're telling your grandkids about. And then everything else is where it gets interesting, and it's just going to keep being the same conversation. But I think the better players are on the bench. I just do. And I know Purdue's getting really annoyed with me on Lance Jones. He had 5 assists tonight. He guards his ass off. Like, let me talk positively about Lance Jones for a minute. I get what Painter's trying to do. I think Lance Jones is a massive upgrade over David Jenkins, who they had last year. I think he's a massive upgrade over Brandon Newman, who they had last year. Lance Jones is a huge upgrade from those guys to me. He can play. He could be on the court at the end of games when it matters most. He's going to be competitive. He's going to not be physically outmatched. He's tough. He shares the ball. All of that, it's good. I don't think he should start for this team. I just don't. And I get Purdue fans will tell me like all they want is toughness and shot attempts from him. I don't think that's helping their starting unit. I don't. I think this team's already tough and has better shooters than Lance Jones. And I know he made a couple threes the game before this, because trust me, the moment he makes a second three, we'll get DMs about it at this point with how much we talk about it. But he was 1 for 3 tonight. He was 2 for 8 from the floor. That means he was 1 for 5, not from 3. You tell me if I'm wrong on this, Cart. Is a Lance Jones shot that's not a 3 a good shot for Purdue?
Oh, also, even to add a little bit more to that, his shot selection is baffling to me.
That's what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
know, if I'm a Purdue fan, I'm watching this game. I'm like, who does like Lance Jones think he is in a sense? Like, you want a player to be confident, yes. You want a player to be aggressive, yes. But also, there's this thing. It's like know your game, like know what's in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And to me, some of the shots that Lance Jones was taking, I was like, my brother, you're not Carson Edwards, right? Like
Yeah.
like you do know that.
That's what I'm saying is I don't think those shots help Purdue. I just don't. And
They
I
don't.
know it seems like Purdue fans who have watched the team more than me do. Like they all are adamant that having a guy who can take shots off the dribble is like a big needle moving piece for this roster. I don't think those shots off the dribble are better shots than open threes they would get from someone else just playing through Zach Edey. And I think the numbers back that up. Myles Colvin was 3 for 3 from 3 tonight on open threes. Ethan Morton was 1 for 1 from 3 tonight, open 3. Caleb First, 1 for 1 from 3, open 3. Like, I would rather just take open threes and get my team confident in shooting open threes than I would Lance Jones shooting 5 off the dribble mid-range shots a game, because Purdue thinks they need someone who can do that. I don't know. If the season ever comes down to a point where the ball's in Lance Jones's hands and he needs to create for himself, I think you've totally missed the mark on who you are as a basketball team. Like, go back to that Virginia team that redid everything and was great. When games got close down the stretch, they weren't like hesitant to go to Kyle Guy because it didn't work the year before, right? Like, they know who their killers are. And right now, to me, Purdue's like just trying to be creative and do something new. And I don't think it's lost sight of the vision here. You want the ball in Zach Edey's hands and Braden Smith's hands, surrounded by shooting. Lance Jones can do that from time to time, but it's a little messy to me right now. Kaufman-Renn, just quickly, you and I were super high on Kaufman-Renn. I do feel like this is one of the things we've missed the most on from the offseason. I was just adamant that Kaufman-Renn was going to be an asset from the perimeter, be more of a stretch 4. He had reshaped his game. It was going to work next to Zach Edey. You were going to see production from Kaufman-Renn at the 4, while you also saw Zach Edey being really good. Through 3 games, that could not be further from the truth. Kaufman-Renn has essentially been a total non-factor on the court. He had 1 point and 3 rebounds tonight. Caleb First, not to do the comparison, but Caleb First, 5 points and 4 rebounds off the bench with a 3 to go with it. Should Kaufman-Renn still be starting for this team?
No, it's just, and I just think that Kaufman-Renn is a college 5 and he can't play next to Edey. It just doesn't work. He cannot stretch the floor, and it just doesn't. And for me, once again, going back to the Purdue's not starting the better players type thing, I think there are players right now that are playing better that would play next to Zach Edey that deserve to start over Trey Kaufman-Renn.
Who would you start?
I mean, I would start anybody. Honestly, you got choices. Like you could go Gillis at the 4, you could go Caleb First at the 4. Shit, if you even want to go like super small ball because you love playing them, play Ethan Morton at the 4. Like you'll be okay. But like you just Trey Kaufman he just TKR just cannot stretch the floor or even be a threat as stretched out as a 4 to like warrant, I think, being a starter right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's
so
he's a college 5.
I tried to jot down the numbers on this when I was watching it in real time tonight. I'm pretty sure I have this correct, give or take like maybe one guy coming in or out. The starters essentially together started this game, left the game. It was a 17-17 ball game at the 11-minute marks. They played 9 minutes together. It was 17-17. Then you get Mason Gillis, you get Caleb First, you get Ethan Morton into the ball game. Those guys come in, a couple guys come in and out with them. After the bench started mixing in for the next 8 minutes, they left the game. Purdue was up 33-24. We're kind of doing the same stuff we do with Michigan State, where we're like kind of box score watching the play-by-play of who's in the game and who's not. And we're trying to pick out the guys to fit our narratives. I see that we're doing that, but like, if we're doing like a scale of what lineups make Purdue their best, their starting lineup's close to the top, but the very top doesn't include TKR to me. And it probably doesn't include Lance Jones, to be honest. Like, I think you swap those two out for a spot shooter and either Mason Gillis or Caleb First. If you're going to play 2 bigs, I think that's better right now than how it looks with TKR. And I don't know if that's what they'll close games with. Luckily for Purdue, they're not going to be in a lot of close games. If you've seen what the Big Ten is doing, Purdue doesn't need to figure any of this out to be the dominant team we hope they are. Like, let me say that clearly. Purdue doesn't need to answer any of our concerns to be a top 5 team in the country and be the best team in the Big Ten and win it. It's just about like, are they going to reach this magical peak we think they could, where they're clearly the best team in the country? And to me right now, they're not there. Maybe they could be there. They're not there right now.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Okay. All right. Good job, Purdue. Way to win. Gavitt Games 2-0 for the Big Ten. You said
hey, okay, here we go. The 6-2 Big Ten is coming.
I mean, you were the one who said it was going to happen, so certainly it'd be a shame if tomorrow it went sideways.